Okay, greetings and hotep. See, I don't see anything. I don't know what's actually happening here. Let's do a couple of things. Okay. Okay, so basically what I'd like to do is see. I'm just trying to document things that occurred. I think the creator has me doing it for my own sanity, basically. When people are trying to play with your emotional intelligence and your mental stability, sometimes it helps to prove to yourself that things are as you say they are. This is the cigarette butts and stuff that I sent to the FBI to ask them if they could get some DNA off of there so that I can find out who feels comfortable sitting outside and throwing down their cigarette butts and leaving condom wrappers and that type thing. Let me go back to that day and see what else is in here. That was the condom wrapper, and let's see. So they're having to become more clandestine in their techniques. As I gather my forensic evidence, those are the bricks laying in the yard. And I guess their intention is to see how the fence is swooped in there. Maybe they jump the neighbor's fence and squat down in the yard waiting for an opportunity to bash me or my children or a dog. That's the only time we're really outside, when we're allowing the dogs just to relax a little bit and run through the yard. So I asked the neighbor for the bricks, and he was nice enough to give them to me. There's one, two, and let's see, on the outside, I had already picked those up, so you can't see it. I don't know that I really want to talk about gang stalking, but let me see. Yesterday, there was a guy sitting right out front. He was traveling back towards 34th Street, and he happened to just stop here. And that happens in life. You might need to take a break and you just stop. But if you happen to stop in front of this place, I'm always paying attention for the most part. Now, the pictures from, let's see, they some kind of way go through here. Yesterday, I turned off the Wi-Fi, and I no longer get upset if they go through and take the pictures, because God has everything recorded, and according to some kind of technology, even if they remove the pictures, it's still actually in here on something in here. So pretty much, let's see, there's an entire tab that's gone. Let's see, let's go back in. I spend a lot of energy and time handwriting notes and hiding that, because I don't know if they have a camera in here. I don't worry about it too much anymore. But I do notice the places that are pulled down. Our roof is basically made out of fabric sheets and trash bags, tarps, because well, that's just the way it is. And so there's holes places, and I guess they create holes so that they can see in here. So let's do this. Let's see. I was being followed by a blue um, Yeah, it appears that that tab is empty. Okay. So that means I have to try to pull out the camcorder and play an old high 8 tape to show you, which is really grainy. You can't really see the. Let's see. So they took out Wednesday's notes. Let's see. That's what I'm looking for. Wednesday, there was a blue Escalade following me. And so I took a picture from the bus. And then when that was at West Shore Mall. Then when I left West Shore Mall, I got here in Ybor City and the same. Okay, here's the blue Escalade. Let's do that. Same blue Escalade that was out at West Shore Mall. So maybe those are the hitters. Orange, what do you call it? Hoodie. Didn't look like said. Same blue Escalade that was out. So I never understand why people are. Let's see. Same blue Escalade that was out at West Shore Mall. So while I was on the bus, okay, so they only took sitting out at the one. Bus stop. We're just leaving the church. This is my bus bench mate. Say hi. Angola's sitting right there. And sometimes there's people. A croquette. It's really delicious. At the I'm sitting at the bus stop. We're they already edited that one because I said, mate. Say hi. Pardon the dirty fingernails. Sitting. As far as I know, I'm made out of dirt, so it's not a problem. So they cut that part out. And then I noticed one of the tarot readers, she was sitting down and she's like, oh, here, let me clean my fingernails. So they're trying to subliminally send, like, well, that's not too subliminal, is it? They're trying to send messages like, well, you know, while you're on live, you could clean your nails or whatever. And I believe I know who's doing that. There's a lot of really feminine men in the world. And instead of healing, they just continue to become more feminized. So, homeless community, get yourself together. Fare free. I want to get this. I don't know why. You can ride bus one free until June. Okay, greetings and. If you look here, it says the asterisk. It says fare free and increased weekday frequency, but only bus one, according to the asterisk, is fare free until January 1st of 2026, and that's being funded by the city of Tampa. So I wanted to highlight that. I'll try to keep abreast of the things that are occurring. And I think that. Okay, city of Tampa, can I take this rooster and these two, what are these hens, to start me a little brood? Hey, do y'all give eggs for food or eggs for reproduction? So my daughter, she was helping me. She said if the rooster has sex with the hen, then it's going to reproduce little chicks. But if they don't have sex, then the hen can just push out eggs that you can eat. And lately on YouTube, they've been eating like eggs that don't form or develop. They boil the egg and then they eat the little chick inside the egg. It's really disgusting to watch. But I eat chicken, so let's see. I think Heartline, y'all need to do better. You see her? See her right there? She could have let me on this. Now she's telling me to catch the next one. I don't know when the next one is, but 1712. Okay, Heartline, y'all that was better. The 18th. See her right there? That was the 18th of December. What I'm noticing about some of the Heartline drivers, they must be working with, I think, Thomas, and I think Thomas is working with Paul Hanner Jr. And do I think Donnie is a part of it? There may be a homosexual coven that includes all of them. Um, what I'm learning about Tampa is it really is a little small hick town, and they could all be connected. So on the 18th, which was Wednesday, I kept seeing a little short Heartline bus, which I think is connected to Thomas, and they let them know which way I'm going, how I'm going. And this is one of the reasons I hate having to use that Flamingo, because they can track your movement every time you scan onto the bus. You know, there's a record of that. They can do the same thing with the card. I bought myself one of those little monthly bus passes. Even with daily bus passes, they can track it. That's just the way things go now. So, the importance of me getting on that bus that she would not let me get on is that I would have been able to get down to the other corner and get the connecting, and I wouldn't have had to walk. Whenever I feel like people are pursuing me, whenever I come on YouTube and start talking SHIT, it upsets them and brings them out of the woodworks, you know? And so they start trying to pursue me, or they send people to pursue me. And I'm walking because they have strategically broken down my life. I'm still looking for my car, my 2011 Dodge Caliber that Lawrence Alexander Cambridge gifted me back in 2020. The car was last seen by me. I left it at Dr. Twiggs's building. They evicted us on the 26th of July, and we ended up here. So I didn't want to bring the car here because it has some kind of low jack technology. And for the people that were pursuing me heavy, me bringing the car here would have let them know where I was, and I wasn't ready to deal with trying to protect myself um, unto death. Before the FBI, the police started taking me seriously about the gang stalkers, they were just having a field day. And I was afraid that I was going to have to take somebody's life. So I didn't want to bring the car here to bring the attention here. I had to create my own witness protection program, basically. And the unfortunate part about these kind of situations is that you can keep yelling and yelling, even with me sending the cigarette butts and stuff. They probably aren't going to do anything about that. It's situations like this you see on TLC, Lifetime, Lifetime. Oh, I think TLC was the channel I used to watch Lifetime movies on. But you see the shows that come on Lifetime, they're happening hundreds a year, but only one makes it on Lifetime. And that's because nobody really cares. Nobody pays attention to what you're going through. And they try to basically make it be like you're crazy. And a lot of that is because these people have an interest. You know, like, I'm going to get $50,000 if that bitch get killed. So I'm going to listen to her story and be like, oh, really? You really think somebody following you? Well, why you think that? And then you have mounds of evidence to prove me seeing the same car 5 times in one day is not a coincidence. That's the way the Tesla was following me heavy. Now, when I went over to Thomas Stewart's house, looked him in his face and said, hey, I think your people following me. And he said, are you okay? You know, as to, ask me to evaluate whether my mind is right. Like, I'm crazy. Why would they be following me? Right? So I said, oh, that's interesting. Because when you're an objective person and somebody tells you that somebody's following you, an objective person would say, well, I'm not going to say it ain't happening, but why do you think that they're following you? You ask objective questions. So this is where I have to say an SOS salute to the University of South Florida that trained me as a communication specialist, and my Greek professor in the communications department. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. SOS salute to you. And to Dr. Navita James, SOS salute to you. And to Dr. Cheryl Rodriguez, SOS salute to you. And to Dr. Gilrith, SOS salute to you. And to Dr. Deborah Austin, she got married. I don't know her married name. SOS salute to you. And to even the antagonistic professors that gave me a hard time and really altered my career. I would have probably gotten my PhD in school psychology if it were not for Dr. Kinsley. I'm going to give you an SOS salute because I guess I should have been a stronger person. I just didn't know how to really negotiate and deal with such things. Um, the bitch test, it's an acronym, BITCH, and he was giving a lecture and talking about the bitch test and how it allegedly proved that black people were less intelligent than white people. And I was just traumatized by the topic. And I kept raising my hand to make comments. And it annoyed him. So he stopped acknowledging my hand. And I said, it really depends on the environment that you grew up in. And it depends on basically your environment is what molds you. And there was one other black girl in the class. What is her name? And she was a parent at University Head Start, and that's where I was working. That's why I took the job with USF and took a $10,000 pay cut and didn't work under Donna Glosser at the Hillsborough County Head Start. And this was back in the 90s, so that I could get the 6 free credit hours at USF and get my PhD. Things didn't work out that way. Um, so what was her name? I want to say Katura, but it's not Katura. It begins with a K. She ended up getting her master's in psychology. And I asked her, I said, why don't you stand up for, the intelligence of black people? Why do you just sit there and let them just say those things? She said, girl, I'm here to get my degree and get out of here. And I couldn't detach myself in that way. And she probably had people in her support system that helped her to deal with these talks. That doesn't sound like a rat. That sounds like a squirrel or maybe even an opossum. I don't know what's up there. But I just couldn't deal with it. And eventually I stopped going to class. And there was a Haitian guy that worked at University Head Start. His name was Louis. And he used to always ask me, how are your classes? And as a result of him asking me that, I said, it's not going well. I stopped going. I don't know how to deal with it. He said, you can't not go. You're going to get an F. You need to go to the head of the psychology department and schedule an appointment and go share your grievances with the chair. So I went to talk with the people. Was it? And basically, they allowed me to withdraw from the class, which still was not a victory for me because the way it affected my GPA, it took down my GPA. And did I get an incomplete? No, I just withdrew. I withdrew, and I really wish I would have went to counseling so that I could have talked more to the counselor. When you're a student at any institution, um, wait a minute, I went to counseling as a staff person, but that was for my personal life. When you're a student, they have counselors available that you can go and talk to psychologically, emotionally, mentally. And I've always been a venter for the most part. When something happens to me that traumatizes me, I want to talk about it and get other people's opinion and, turn it left, turn it right, turn it upside down and look at it. And I guess you could say I was maybe I gave my mom the strength to go to counseling. In the black community, in many black communities, it's still taboo to go and get counseling. They feel like, something wrong with your head. But I've always seen that it really benefited me if I could go and talk and just get it out. Now, I'm very grateful that I had the courage to go to counseling because it gives my children the option to go to counseling and not really worry about people trying to call you crazy, because it makes sense if something is grieving you and burdening your soul for you to go and try to get that worked out. So, why did I say all of that? I said all of that to say, I guess, if you're having problems within any area of your life, if you don't have competent people to talk to, it's okay to go to counseling. And most of what I've noticed in the Black community, especially at working class level living, the people that you sit around and drink with and smoke with and, you know, party with, they are not going to really give you an objective view. They're not even going to work in your best benefit. They work to keep you in the crap pot so that they can continue to have somebody to smoke with and drink with. When they see you moving up and out of their sphere, a lot of times that concerns them and they don't want you to go. So they'll sabotage your life so that you can't grow. I wanted to be a film producer. I wanted to be the first Black woman like Spike Lee. So I contacted the New York University. I looked into their master's program because I had already obtained my bachelor's degree from the University of South Florida here in Tampa, Florida. And in order for me to continue to get, what do you call that? Financial aid, usually you move up as opposed to a lateral move and getting another bachelor's degree. I thought I needed to seek out a master's degree. So I booked my flight, JetBlue, back in the 90s. That used to be my airline. It was always reasonably priced. I mean, and there's certain times of the year, like January, after New Year's, January 4th, 5th, 6th. I mean, you can grab a round trip flight back then for like $100. So I booked my flight, I packed, and as I was packing, I was crying. And I was like, bitch, what is wrong with you? Why are you crying? And I guess now looking back, as a little girl growing up, I used to sit at home and watch TV until the fuzz came. You remember back in the day when the TV went off at 11 or 12 o'clock, it would go, all you saw is white and black dots that looked gray. I was born in 1970, so you all born around that era, you understand what I'm saying. And I used to say, "Oh, I want to go to New York," but because of some of the news clips that came on, a man got stabbed to death for stepping on, somebody's white Air Jordans. A man got stabbed for not sharing his pickle. And this was happening in New York. And so as a child, I wanted to go to New York, but I was afraid to go to New York. So in preparation, I was talking to people and, oh, I'm going to New York. I've always been the kind of person where I would tell people what I was doing. So I'm like the perfect candidate for people who do spell work. because the excitement that I had to go along with my aspiration, if they knew how to do spell work, they could pull energetically from me, and they did. And it did alter my destiny because I went to New York. I came back to Tampa because my mom cried and begged me to come back. And my brother um, sort of kind of bashed me. You know, you so stupid. You don't know nobody there. You ain't got enough money. You don't. Nah, 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 nah. And they would double team me when I would call and check in with my mom. She would cry and be like, "Aileen, please come home. Please come home." And then she would hand off the phone to my brother. You so stupid. You don't know nobody. You need to bring your stupid behind back to Tampa. But I had a place to stay. Thank you to Josie Thomas. He told me about Emma's house, and Dr. Father David received me, and Angel and Michael. They were very instrumental in helping me to maneuver my way through New York and find the things that I needed to find. And I even accepted a position there at Emma's house as the bookkeeper. But I was having problems understanding why other people in the house were told that they couldn't get a full time job outside the house. But if I was going to be the bookkeeper, which I guess this would be skilled work, I could work a full time job outside the house. And instead of me taking the job, working my full time teaching job, I was hoping that, what was the name? What was the name of that school for social change? Thurgood Marshall School for Social Change. I was really impressed with that school, and I was thinking that's where I was going to be working full time. Um, I had on my little activist hat, and this activist hat has always brought my life down. Instead of me appreciating the position I was in, working the position, getting what I came to get and get out, I always had to stand up for the people. And it plagues me still today, even at the University of South Florida. I had a professional position. I was USPS. I made it past my probationary period, and I was getting my 6 free credit hours every semester, which was my goal. And then here wobbles my friend Natalie Renee Carnegie telling me about the things that are happening within the inner workings of the University Head Start, and they're trying to get rid of all the black teachers, and they're bringing in the interns from the College of Education, which were mostly white, but they would leave quickly because the Caucasian young girls didn't really know how to deal with the children that were coming from poor neighborhoods. Discipline wise, they are really, they were hard to deal with for the Caucasian young female students who had no children and didn't understand the perils of being poor and impoverished in many ways. So, of course, the black teachers coming from poor neighborhoods, coming from having very little money to maintain life, they knew how to deal with their children, which, even though they were not all their children, they were an extension of their children. So, culturally speaking, they were at an advantage. And economically speaking, they were in the same class, and they were able to make a greater impact on those children. It was a great combination because you have children who need exposure to a different way of living and being. I want to know what the heck that is. Please help me to stay focused, God. And then you have, whoa, okay. Both sides needed each other. What the African American children could have benefited from, and the parents as well, could have benefited from the Caucasian students from the College of Education is their high energy, their structured planning, their access to more. Greetings and hotep. I'll be quick. So I'm starting to see these bricks again. Remember when I was working over there at Eddie's Cleaner? There were the bricks everywhere. I worked there now for I see bricks 12 days next door in the neighbor's yard. Maybe they're um, late night coming over here into the neighbor's yard. I picked up a couple here. And then this is the second condom wrapper that I found, and cigarette butts. This cup, and I went and got some dog poop bags. This is the condom wrapper. This is the second one. And right here, I just decided to come on over here and look. Every time I see this dental pick, I think it's that faggot ass Donnie Dwayne Flowers. I'm trying to not be hostile, but I'm sick of their shit. I really am. I was moving up and down. Whenever I'm sliding through and something gets activated, I feel like it's God saying, let that play. So I just take a break. So the Caucasian students coming, having no children, having the blessing of being able to have parents who can pay for their college education, and them being, and you have to make assumptions about things, mostly unencumbered by poverty. They leave home with such hope, high hopes, and great expectation, and that energy can be transferred over to others, including the parents. And so it was a great combination. However, I think one of the things that happened, the teachers who were mostly, I don't know, I guess it's acceptable to still say black. I'm just going to say African American. African American may have felt um, like these were their replacements, and they may have felt threatened by the interns coming in, because some of them had the right to apply for these positions in the Head Start program. And I think a couple of them did, but again, they didn't stay long. And for the Caucasian young students, they had a really hard time dealing with the children and their lack of discipline and their lack of listening skills. And I want to talk about this without being negative. Well, I mean, there's just no way around just talking about it frankly. Many times when you're in a school where you have children that come from neighborhoods that are impoverished, they don't listen well, they lack structure, and they don't really respect you. They want to do what they want to do, and they will do that and ignore your instructions. And should I share that resource? God said yes. So my life was changed by this position, because of the techniques I learned as a parent. My child was in the Head Start program, and Head Start is an awesome program. It has a parent involvement service area that encourages the parents. I think you have to volunteer a certain amount of hours in the year. And so they have monthly parent meetings, and they have or had, I haven't really kept up with the organizational makeup of the Head Start program and how it has changed throughout the decades now. I left Head Start in 1999, so that's about 25 years ago. So, as a parent, I traveled to policy committee meetings, to national Head Start conferences. My first flight ever, Delta, was to LA for a conference with the Head Start program. I traveled quite a bit with Head Start, and I got a lot of awards: Volunteer of the Year, Parent Volunteer of the Year, Parent of the Year, Volunteer of the Year, and let's see, for the state of Florida, out of 25,000 um, others, I was crowned Volunteer Parent of the Year for the state of Florida, Parent of the Year for Hillsborough County, Parent of the Year for my Head Start program. I'm a bit of an extremist, so if I do something, I usually overdo it. That's what people say, but God made me that way, so it must not be overdoing. And I'm going to share a resource with you that changed my life as a parent. In my household, they used to spank us. And, if they were angry with you, you could feel it in the spanking. And to me, it is an extension of slavery that still exists today. We take frustration out on people that we love because we feel helpless and hopeless, and it sort of kind of makes us feel good. It releases stress and strain off of us because SOS Help for Parents, for parents. That's a part of our genetic makeup. I think it still exists very heavily. And I'm typing SOS Help for Parents. And it still has not been addressed at the epidemic level that it needs to be addressed. Okay, so this book, SOS Help for Parents by Dr. Lynn Clark, changed my life. And who introduced me to this book? The Head Start program. I don't remember what, here's the one. I don't remember specifically what training. And the in Head Start, they train the parents. So you have a social worker, you have a parent involvement specialist, you have mental health specialists, so that if the children have disabilities, they can get help. If they have speech impediments, they can get help. If they have a problem with hearing, they can get help. If they need dental, they can get help. If they need medical, they can get help. So it's a full service program. And my child being in this program gave me access to all of this training. And I love learning. So I sucked up thousands of hours between being a parent. Let's see, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92. So I think I first got affiliated with Head Start in 91. And then my child did 3 to 4 years in the program. And then I started working for Head Start. I got a professional position. So between 91 and 99, in a 9 year span, I definitely garnered over 1,000 hours, of training. I managed to get my national CDA, child, that acronym stands for CDA, Child Development Associate. So I got that one out of Washington, D.C., and then I got the one for the state of Florida. Okay, so this book right here teaches you how to train children without using your emotional frustration. You see, the parent is very frustrated at the kid, right? And the kid is looking at, like, what's your problem? So, practical guide for handling common everyday behavior problems. The most significant thing this book taught me, I would be in the kitchen and I would tell my child, clean up, it's time to get ready for dinner. And he would be like, okay. And I would say, hey, did you clean up? Okay. I'm in the kitchen. Let's say the child is in their bedroom. And then the third time, I would leave the kitchen and go in the room and say, didn't I tell you to pick up these toys? Didn't I tell you to get ready for, like that. I'm angry, like that parent right there, right? So, what this book is going to teach you is that you are the problem, not the child. So, you learn how to give an effective command. So, this book taught me go to where the child is, cut off all stimuli. If the TV is on, turn the TV off. If the radio is on, turn the radio off. Get down out on the child's level, which means to get down on your knees, look into the child's eyes, and say, he looks like a Bobby or a Jimmy. Jimmy, I need you to clean up your toys. We're getting ready to go eat. Now, little Jimmy is excited about playing, right? It's nice to have toys and something that excites you. So you might even help little Jimmy put the toys up and say, good job. I really like it when you comply and keep your room neat, whatever. You want to pat them, maybe give them a hug as reinforcement for them doing that. And then you go up to the kitchen together. And that's how you give a good command. Not yelling from the kitchen words to a child who is not listening to you because they have something far more exciting in front of them that they're engaged in. Playing with their manipulatives, maybe playing with the connects set or some blocks. And I kept saying to the lady, it's not working, it's not working. And this was like 2 weeks into this training. And she was like, well, just keep giving it a chance. And like in the third week, it worked. At my house, it worked. And I went and I said, it works, it works. And it changed my life. So I began talking to other parents about how this really worked. And I would stand out where at the University of South Florida, there was just like this covered patio area. So I would stop and talk to the other parents as I found this out. And my excitement drew other parents to come and take the training. And I ended up becoming the parent involvement assistant. And then when the parent involvement coordinator left, I applied for that position and I was promoted into that position. William, what is William's name? Last name? William, dang it. Why can't I remember William's last name? I can't remember his last name, but he was an Army veteran. I remember that. He had a great personality. He was a cowboy and he ended up marrying, what was her name? Keisha? I can't remember her name either. Well, I guess that's neither here nor there. I remember Flora Kilpatrick came after Kathleen Ferris. I wonder if Kathleen is still alive. I went to visit her earlier this year at her brother's house. What's the name of that street? Off of Broad near Riverview Terrace Apartments. And they said they had been there for 14 years. So I remember Darla Silverman, Jolena Ferro, Ferro. She hired me. And I had a great time there at the university Head Start program, Delegate 3 for Hillsborough County. But to talk about this activist hat. Natalie was explaining to me that the teachers were concerned because they were being pushed out of their positions and they wanted to, we're just going to say, whiteify the program. One of the things that African American people have seen over and over again, when there is very, very hard work to do, they will get hired into positions. And once they do the hard work, I mean, coming in on the weekends, staying late to develop something that they are investing in because they plan to retire from this position, or they plan to be in that position long enough to set themselves up for a better promotion. What they find is that after they get the program stabilized, the people that are over the program want to move them out and move in Caucasian people, usually, or people that they feel are more mainstream. Many of the teachers that were in the ground floor beginnings of the Head Start program didn't have college degrees, didn't have any formal, and when I say formal, I mean within a AA degree or a BA degree. They did the trainings through the Head Start program. They worked in daycare centers for many years. And Head Start had started requiring you to have an AA degree, and that was causing a big rift because you have 40, 50-year-old women who have worked in daycare all of their lives for their professional career for the most part, and now they're being told they have to go to college. And college is not just academics. I mean, it's not just academics. You have to prepare. What is that? For college. And I'm trying to find a diplomatic way to say what I mean instead of just saying what I mean. Many teachers didn't speak grammatically correct English, but they were great working with the children. So they needed to develop some skills, which might have required a lot of remedial training before going to college. And how do you do that when you already have a life that's full with working, and then you have maybe children, maybe grandchildren that you're helping to support, and psychologically you might not feel like you're smart enough to go to college. And I can say this because I used to wonder if I was smart enough to go to college. And I just kept hacking away at it. And then I realized this is not about being smart or not smart. This is about how much you're willing to put into it. If you're willing to sit in the student services where the tutors are and just keep working these math problems, eventually you're going to pass your algebra class. I love math, but I had to take that algebra class 3 times before I passed it. And it became one of those classes where I wondered, are you going to be able to get your AA degree? Because this is the only class that's standing in between you and your AA degree. And I was determined, like, yep, if all them other people passed it and they got their degrees, that means I can do it too. And I passed it with a C. And Mac now I'm leaving the Head Start story and I'm going to my AA degree. I graduated from Hillsborough Community College with my Associate of Arts in Communications, or was it journalism? I can't remember. Um, why can't I remember what my AA degree is in? My AA degree is in mass communications. And then when I matriculated to the University of South Florida, my bachelor's of arts is in communications. Okay, so back to, well, I want to stop and say this to children and any other humans. When you are feeling nervous and you're wondering whether or not you have what it takes to do a thing, you have what it takes. You have what it takes. And if it's coming across your heart and mind, it might even be the Creator's desire for you to grab that information. So you take that fear and you say, hey, let's go and give it a try. 50-50 on the timer when I said that. And do it afraid. Do it afraid. All right, God. I want to say something. Okay, yeah, I'm going to fall. Joyce Myers, which is a Christian preacher, pastor, has a teaching lecture titled Do It Afraid. And I used to listen to it over and over again when I was a student at the University of South Florida and I was trying to find myself and wondering if I was smart enough graduate from college because I grew up with people calling me stupid, dumb, ugly, like that. And I was a rebellious child, and rebellion served me because if I had given in to those notions that I was stupid, that I was black, that I was ugly, I would not be the wonderful resource that I am right now. And I often tell my children, even though I don't have a lot of money in my pocket, my name is attached to about a $500 million. But there's people around me that steal that money and they want to make sure they keep me small so that they can continue to siphon off of me so that they look rich, so that they look smart, so that they look innovative, so that they look intelligent. Uh, People are pitiful. And I'm talking about 90% of people. They're pitiful. They use other people and they will even kill you so that they can continue to use you. So, what I want to say to you, children, if it's in your heart and mind as a thought, pursue it. Even if you have to leave people around you so that you can give your undivided attention and everything you have to that thing. It's the best thing to do. When you stay around people that are common to you, they want to keep you small with them. They feel great resentment when they see you leveling your life up. Now, they have the same opportunities and options to do the same. Most of the time, they don't want to make the sacrifices to do what it takes to get where they see you going. And they look at you and they think, oh, wow, it must be nice. Like you're not suffering, like you haven't made sacrifices to be where you are. And you have to fight for your life. Give it all up and go. Do what it is that your heart compels you to do. And when you get there, give it everything you've got. Fight for yourself. Fight for your life. Fight for your dreams. It's the right thing to do. So I wanted to say that. And I want to go back to the University of South Florida now. So I, when I was praying about working for the Head Start program, if I had gone with working under the grantee program under Donna Glosser, I would have started out in $30,000, $40,000 a year. But some of the complaints, 5454 on the timer when I said that, some of the complaints that I was hearing from the employees is that it's hard to go to school. You sometimes have to work on the weekends. And I knew I wanted to be Dr. Aileen Atkins. So I said, you know what? I'll take the little small chump change, 25,000 over here at USF, and I'll relish in the perks. So I had my own office. When I needed to come in on the weekends, I could come in and do my work, bring my child with me. I could take off from work and go to classes in the daytime because I was right there on campus, and it worked out better for me. I didn't let money be the deciding factor for me because it's just paper after all. I always, once I started thinking for myself, I knew I wanted to be an intelligent person. I knew I wanted to be a resourceful person more so than I wanted to be rich, more so than I wanted to have a whole bunch of material stuff. And so working at the university was a perfect fit for me. After the some of the teachers started complaining to me, I felt compelled to try to do something about it. And as a result, a lot happened, and my position ended up being abolished. I had 6 months to find another position on campus in order to keep my time. And when I say keep your time, when you work within the university system, after 10 years, you can retire and get a pension. So I think I was how many years in? 90. I got that position in 94 or 95. The position was abolished in 99. Part of it was a part time position. I worked for the hippie program, home instructional program for preschool youngsters. Rudine Poole was my supervisor then, and I left that position over the summer and stepped into the full-time USPS position after William left. Okay, so as after my position got abolished, I started applying for other positions, and because I stood up with the teachers, I guess I became coined as a troublemaker or resistor, which is unfortunate when you stand up for things. Well, they have a term for it now, whistleblower, but when you stand up for things and you're in a system, the way the system works is you don't need resistance. You know, you want the wheels to flow nicely. If you get something that, let's say you're trying to drive a car, but the brakes, the emergency brake is on. You feel the resistance and then you start smelling the burning rubber and you're trying to figure out what it is. Now, an innovative person would be appreciative of the emergency brake, right? Because there's benefits to having the emergency brake. Innovative person might investigate and find out what's going on, and let's see if we can fix it, and then we move forward. But sometimes you get people that have ulterior motives, and when you catch them doing things that are slick and inappropriate, they don't always appreciate that. So I applied for many positions, and one position really intrigued me. It was working for the radio station on campus, USF Bull radio station. I would have been working with the USF TV, doing something for deaf, coordinating maybe the people who do the sign language for the hearing impaired. The downside was I was going to take a $10,000 pay cut. So I might have been making $32,000 by that time, and I would have dropped down to $22,000. Still full time work, but $1,000 less. Well, $10,000 less a year. And to me, that was a really big hit. At that time, I was listening heavily to Arlene Rippey and Elizabeth Elliot, and I really wanted to become a homekeeper. My child, I only had one child at that time, was about getting into the double digits, 10 or 11, and I was just finding out. Do I say that? No. I wanted to invest more time and energy with my child. I was spending a lot of time at work because my assistant, which was a part time position, had been abolished. And for some reason, Ava Norton, she was a teacher, but she was on workman's comp, and she moved into that position as my assistant. And let me see, Ava came after I was working my full time position and that part time position, or after Ava left, I was left to do the part time position plus my position. I was burnt out. I used to run and walk really fast to get from here to there because I had to do my full time position plus that part time position. And I really felt burnt out. And I wasn't spending much time with my child because sometimes on the weekends I had to come and do reports. When it got to the end, things got bad. People were sabotaging my reports, the same way they're sabotaging this device right here. The pictures of the blue Escalade I didn't find anymore. And I don't know how they hack into things. It used to make me angry. I just don't even worry about it now because God said, I got pictures of all that stuff, child. You ain't even got to worry about it. I did write down the license plate number um, somewhere else. I'm learning that you still need to write things down because this device can be hacked. And they've been hacking my devices for a long time. Metro PCS is a very poor record keeper. They can be bribed. They are unprofessional. Most of them that I have been to, the people that work in there, they're unprofessional. The people that work behind the counter, it doesn't take much for them to violate your privacy. And it's really unfortunate. But if you only have, $100 and you need phone service, it's a great company to go with. If you need privacy, hey, they might sell your information to people, or they might take a bribe and let people get into your account. And I'm speaking from personal experience. It's not hearsay. Now, why is it not? Okay. Okay, I was reading the comments. I never really do that, but lately I've been trying to just look at the comments for some reason. So, after the position was abolished, I didn't want to take the $10,000 pay cut. I wanted to come home and be a homekeeper, and I did that. And my life just began to fall down even more. So, I want to ask a question. I don't talk to any of the people from that um, workplace. Maybe 3 years ago, I saw Ava Norton at the laundromat Grand Wash, 34th in Hillsboro. Natalie Renee Carnegie. I went to her cousin's place of business on, what is that, Nebraska, in between Bush and Yukon. Anna Clark's place to get something notarized, and things didn't go too well. Can you hear that car? That loud blah, blah, blah. And who else from Head Start have I bumped into? Oh, maybe this year I saw um, Minister Rudine Poole at Amazing Love Ministries. She goes back and forth to Africa. And I think that's about it. I don't get out too much to really see people, and I'm no longer in the education business in that way. I've been busy working to start my own resource center and fighting against my family and, these fake friends that have attempted to steal the gifts that people are giving me, the buildings, houses, cars, money, and then the inheritances that are left by my people to give me an opportunity in life to advance my visions. They have been stealing them. And woe unto them, because we all have to reap what we sow. And I have prayed for karmic justice to reach them and to multiply its effect 1 zillion fold. So we're just sitting and waiting on God's timing. And it's giving me an opportunity to see just how pitiful people are. People will steal your ideas, steal your car, your house, and convince themselves that they're doing well as a person. They don't see themselves as a thief. They're like, well, I needed it more than she needed it. They will see you and your children in downtrodden situations, know that they have stolen from you, and they don't feel any remorse. They feel like, nah, that's what you get for thinking you better than me. Nah, that's what you get for being smarter than me. Nah, that's what you get for being prettier than me. Nah, that's what you get for being taller than me. Nah, that's what you get for being more ambitious than me. Nah, that's what you get for being more righteous than me. And these are grown people. Some of them are old. And I don't feel sorry. I just feel like people are pitiful. And I just thank God for Him helping me to hold my integrity, because everything that they've done to me, I could have done. I could have acted in those same ways, but I don't know why. I'm just thankful to the Creator of this fine universe for helping me to hold my integrity. And I'm talking about judges, I'm talking about attorneys, I'm talking about psychologists, psychiatrists, when it comes to money, medical doctors. When it comes to money, these people just get stupid. They take bribes and they do things to you. And it's just sad and pitiful. It's sad and pitiful. And I guess I have taken the position of Dr. Martin Luther King when he decided to be nonviolent when they were trying to deal with segregation. He said, let's just stand there and allow the Caucasian people to show what's in their heart. And they showed it. They beat people to death. They killed people. They killed children. They put bombed places. They took water hoses and assaulted people because they had anger in their heart. Anger that was probably fueled by fear because they didn't want to share the United States equally with African descendants who allegedly were brought over by, well, not necessarily Caucasians. They were brought over by the Spaniards, right? The Nina, the Pinta, I don't know. I'm trying to remember what I learned in history class. Chattel slavery. They were, okay, who purchased melanated people from Africa and the Caribbean to work and till the land and cultivate society for them. And once the slaves or the Africans that were forced to work as slaves were freed by our government, isn't it negligent to let them go and not give them anything? And see, here we go again, this activist thinking coming up. But maybe this is why God put me here, so that I can have these conversations. I can stand up for things. And it was wrong of me to get so wrapped up in my own agenda, which was to become Dr. Aileen Atkins. I wanted to be called doctor so that I could be perceived as being somebody. And maybe that is a some kind of sign of low self-esteem, maybe some residual of slavery. Maybe I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I wasn't supposed to assume that I was going to retire from the University of South Florida. I was going to get my PhD, become a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Maybe I shouldn't have made those assumptions. So maybe I did exactly what I was supposed to do. And maybe I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm not sure. So I just try to take every day for the day and allow God to use me. I was lamenting a couple of years ago because I planned to live at Indian Rocks Beach once I got my money. And I was talking to my fake friend, Donnie Dwayne Flowers. And when you share your vision and dreams with other people, sometimes they will steal your shit. Um, so I said all of that to say he knows where my money is. He knows where the papers are, and he went off and bought a condo. And I don't know if he bought the condo for me to live in it. I don't think so. I think he planned on them putting me in some kind of insane asylum, and his baby mama was going to become me, and she was going to step into my identity and become Aileen Dorothea Atkins, so that they could live off of what I worked for, right? I'm the one who struggled to get through high school. I'm the one who struggled to get through HCC, sitting in student services with Mac and Annette, Dr. Annette White, and the tutors to make sure I passed my class. Dr. Everett, um, I want to give an SOS salute to Dr. Everett. He was my English professor at Hillsborough Community College. And I hand wrote a couple of papers, and he was not letting it fly. And I thought that my papers were good and should be accepted. And he helped me to understand, no, this is not good. You're in a institution of higher learning, and you need to get somewhere and type these papers, if nothing else. And I want to say thank you for jacking up my standards. I don't know if he's alive or deceased. Dr. Carlton Williams, he had a really positive impact on my life as well. And may he be resting in peace. And let's see, Dr. Daryl, what's his last name? Daryl. He and Dr. Davis, what was his name? He has a church. Dr. Davis has a church over on 30th Street near Hillsborough. It's the old, it's W.E. Davis building. It used to be a animal hospital years ago. So all of these things have brought me here. I'm sitting here still waiting on the FBI, CIA, somebody to get me some of my resources. And listening to the tarot readers, they have these, I guess they have like a bucket with 12 topics, and they just all talk about it round robin to keep you in the same loop. That's what I feel like. Oh, yes, your money's coming. Yes, you should be receiving this. Yes, you should. Now, they're just generally speaking about things. They don't say, you, Aileen, yes, your money is coming. And I've never had a personal reading, so I just don't get into, asking people to tell me things about myself. I feel like God can tell it to me if He wants me to know it. Early on, I asked for help from Unapologetically Unique, and I can't even find her channel anymore. And I hope and pray she's still alive. I probably shouldn't be calling out names because these coven members, what I want to say to you, children, there are people who make a living out of stealing. They're called covens, and these people practice, I guess it's called witchcraft, manipulation. I call it manipulation. They get together and I guess they do chantings. The way they drive around this property again and again and again, I'm assuming they're chanting something over and over again, and they're trying to send the power of suggestion, excuse me, to you to change you from doing what you might naturally have had planned to do, and they want you to do the contrary. There are people in every walk of life that participate in this theft of energy, theft of ideas, theft of money. And for some reason, Ronald Figueroa is in my head. That's my chief judge here in the 13th Judicial Circuit Court, who I am holding responsible for having allowed this last theft to occur. Chief Judge Menendez allowed them to steal my twins back in 2004 based on just lies. I mean, they just put lies on paper and they totally dismantled my life. So here they are again, allowing for the theft of my properties and inheritances that come in through my name because they are allowing them to lie and say, hey, this lady crazy, she a whore, she a prostitute, she smokes, she drink. All they got to do is make the allegations, right? And we need to put a power of attorney over her, and we need to put her in an insane asylum so that, they can try to make those things be possible by giving me chemicals or whatever and screwing up my mind. And so as I'm looking at this, I'm like, wow, Dr. Lisa Gaze told a bunch of lies. Fat ass Dr. Alberts told a bunch of lies. He's got an office over there on Davis Island. He is a psychiatrist. And when I pulled out the DSMV and said, now wait a minute, obesity is a mental health disorder. Now y'all done sent me over here to this 500-pound man. He crazy too, right? He gonna make me feel better? And then they started to attack me even more for pointing out the obvious. If obesity is a mental health disorder, you sent me over here to this fat ass man to get some help, and he needs some help. That was my argument. And they're like, oh, she's what did they call me? What did they call me? What did they put? What did you put in there, Scott Crawford? I don't know if Scott is dead or alive. He worked for the Department of Children and Families. He was supposed to be working for me, but he was working against me, as was, I would say, Keisha Riggins. She was the guardian ad litem for a period of time, and then the guardian ad litem attorney, Aisha Lewis, and then she got married and became Aisha Lewis Klug, Klugh. I still got y'all name on my mouth because you all took my children from me, and you knew those were lies. You didn't even try to find the truth. And I guess you all did it because you were paid. I didn't know about the trust fund back then, but now it makes sense. So where is Judge Catherine G. Esrick? She's the one. Well, I don't want to be talking about these people. I'm not hurting as bad as I used to hurt, but those children are 20 years old, and I never raised those children. At 3 days old, Morton Plant Mease Hospital, a quack by the name of Dr. Gustavo Quadra, Quadra Gustavo, he gave me a bogus diagnosis, called me crazy because I said I was talking to my babies in my womb, gave me a bogus diagnosis called psychosis NOS. NOS is an acronym that means not otherwise specified. And so people have been calling me crazy since 2004. And it's okay because a doctor said it. So they must have paid those people off back then. And I guess their real problem was me being an activist and bad mouthing Hillsborough County and Hillsborough County government for the things they were doing. And for a long time, I just shut up. I was traumatized. I was like, wow, they can just take your kids on some bullshit. And yes, they did it. It was 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 21 seconds when I said that. And it took me a long time to maneuver through the trauma. I was so angry for a long time. And they took my anger and said, see, we told you she was crazy. Like, wait a minute. If somebody come and take your newborn babies, you could expect that they would kill you for that. Especially if she were not a black woman, right? But you all expect black people to just be like, oh, yeah, it's okay. You can take my children. Y'all been doing that for years, right? Based on the history of slavery. So I got caught up in being the activist instead of being the mother. And that probably was my biggest flaw. And as a result, I didn't get a chance to raise those children. And they terminated my parental rights. And it was all lies. All lies. All lies. But I'm finding out now that my family was a part of the problem. Not only my family, my fake friend, Natalie Renee Carnegie, was an integral part of them stealing my children. Again, for checks. She and my brother probably got together and, well, if you take her babies, you can get checks for them. Some kind of way through get the mama to adopt them and then, kill your mama and then you can get the checks. So it was probably Natalie Renee Carnegie and Anthony Gothardaris Atkins that came up with that plan. And it's really sad when people feel like children are checks. Get your children a disability check. And I never wanted those things for my children. My parents left 6 pieces of property and my childhood home my mom paid off, and she let me live there so that I could raise my children and not have to work so hard. But my brother was envious of that, and he was always telling her to put us out and collect rent. And I guess now he has it and he's collecting rent, and he did exactly what he told my mama to do. He had me, my 4 children, and my nephew evicted June 2nd, 2022, so he could collect rent. And then when I saw him 2 Wednesdays ago, I went to check on my daughter and drop off a plate to her after we left Wednesday church, and to drop off the $2 bill that I got from her for her from church. And he's opening the door wide like I'm gonna come in, like ain't nothing happened. That was 1 hour, 24 minutes, and 24 seconds when I said that. And I didn't even really acknowledge him. I didn't say nothing to him because Nick, see what I'm talking about? You did too much. But to him, he's an Aries. They don't really hold grudges for a long time. They do some evil shit though. I know too many Aries, and I think I saw. Well, I saw the gray truck that I associate with Donnie. He might not have been driving it. I couldn't see, but I can tell you the birds were like, danger, danger. And so I didn't go outside. I don't want to be put in a position where I have to defend myself because I plan on fucking them up. That's point blank, bottom line. And just as nice as I am nice, I try to ask God to help me to be brutal because we need to euthanize this garbage on the earth. Men who lie to women and misuse their children and misuse the women, they need to go. They need to leave this plane of existence. And so I don't know what God has planned, but I am here for it. I'm here for God's plan. So I hope and pray they reap what they sow 100-fold at least. So I'm going to close this out because I'm feeling pretty good. And if I start talking about these homosexual covens and these pitiful men who are supposed to be the protectors of women and children, but they use women and children, it's going to probably uh, lower my feel good. And I feel great right now. So thank you for listening to my rantings and my past hurts and history. And yeah, even though they done went through here, and I'm just making sure I'm going back through to see if I misplaced it. Blue Escalade, yep. Maybe they can pull up the picture from here. They didn't see. Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. So the hackers have been through the phone, and there's not much I can do about it. I don't know what to do, is the biggest part. I don't know how to prevent them from getting in the phone. Sometimes when I'm going through, I see a MAC address, and it's like, Mac. Like, how did they do that? Let's see, I'm going to look back through. Black pickup with silver trim, Terminex, mailman, Italian looking guy, white car, black Honda, Fred's house, beige truck, Fred's house, nightmare. On the bus, the guy gave me food. I guess I can put that on here. This lady back here seemed to be recording me. He was talking to me and he gave me food. That was Saturday. I didn't go to the homeless feeding on Saturday. If I don't need to, I don't go. See, I don't know. I took a picture of them. They seem to be paying attention to me a little too much. People don't understand. I guess they really don't believe in God, and that's why they do the things they do. 2309. So yeah, I can't find it anymore. And I didn't delete it, so it should still be here. So let's go and do this. Let's go to settings. I haven't done this in a while. Yesterday, somebody turned on my Bluetooth. I turned it off, and they turned on my Wi-Fi, and I turned it off. So this says, let's see if they're going to allow me to focus in. So this says 0.96 gigabytes used November 22nd through December 20th. That's not even the, let's see, it's searching for Wi-Fi networks. So there's Spectrum Setup 4F, 75, B9, T-Mobile 3541, Frontier 3616, Lynx System 18002, Frontier 3616, Spectrum Setup EA, Spectrum Setup 9955, Spectrum Setup EC, Spectrum Setup 55, Spectrum Setup 25, Spectrum Setup 1B, Spectrum Setup Silverfish. No, it says Silverfish and Silverfish underscore IOT or LOT. And so I don't see those MAC addresses anymore. So they must have, hopefully, the ICE department found out who it was and booted them out of the phone tablet. You see how it says network and it should say Metro by T-Mobile and it's kind of shaded out. It should say Metro by T-Mobile. This is where the MAC addresses were, access point names. It was 2 MAC addresses there. I didn't know what that was. So I'm going to turn this off. Choose. No, I'm going to leave that on. Allow 2G service. I'm going to leave that on. So I no longer try to do everything. I just let God do his thing and I obey him and do what he tells me to do. I've received $0 from all of my YouTube channels, and I think they closed down my Lily channel. I don't worry about that mess. Mm-mm. The intellectual properties attorney, if they're decent, I will get my monies paid back, and they are eventually going to go to prison, prayerfully, for a long time. I do call out their names when I think they're around. My sister Alva, she was in this neighborhood for the last about 10 days, but I haven't felt her presence. So maybe they picked her up, hopefully. I mean, I still say sister out of habit, but those people ain't family to me no more. You trying to kill me for money? You gonna buy a death certificate and go and lie so that you can steal my money? And then you ain't even got the decency to give me none. So no, I don't claim those people as family anymore. The children that I gave birth to, that's my family. And that's just what it is. I don't want to be around people who want to kill me so that they can get off scot-free for what they've done to me. The money that they stole, and then she still got some more money we can steal. Yeah. And so somebody's knocking on the door or something. I hear knocking. Is that you, Abby? Okay. Whew. Let's see.
I see it by the other door.
Did you hear knocking?
No.
You didn't hear knock, 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 knock? Okay, I heard it. Who is it? Who is it?
Mom, if they didn't respond the first time, I don't think there's anybody out there.
Could be at the side door.
I don't think. Well, I guess you're right.
It's kind of faint for the side door, but the dogs heard it. They should have heard me yell, who is it? This little small house. Okay.
They're gonna go check it out.
I'm not getting up. I did my part.
No,
What?
you're just using up my.
Oh, yeah. You go look at the side door. Go see it. Abby, did you hear knock, 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 knock? Where did it seem like it was coming from?
Uh,
Up here? Well, it wasn't at the front door.
no,
Who is it? You think they hurt me?
yeah.
Okay. I don't know what kind of games are being played.
Move it down
But
here.
I did try to respond to whoever did the knock, knock, knock. Everybody here heard it. The two girls heard it. The dogs heard it. I heard it. I don't know if you all heard it, but they nobody said anything. And I do not move myself from a position of safety to insecurity by walking outside and trying to investigate. They see this big door up here. Most people come to your front door, or they stand in front of your property and yell so that you can, acknowledge them. So if they're knocking in a clandestine position, then they're trying to be clandestine. And if that is the case, then, I need to be more prepared when I go out there. And I'm not ever going to go walk out into danger to try to appease a stranger. So that's not something I'm going to do. If they really want to be acknowledged, they'll come knock at this front door or come to the front of the property to seek acknowledgement. That's how you work that. So, children, when you hear knocks on the door, you don't just open your door. You don't open the door. You yell, "Who is it?" Right? And you don't show yourself. And if they don't respond, you leave that alone. Record, of course. And if they need to, "Oh, I have this for your parent," just put it down there on the ground. Put it underneath the mat. Put it on top of the mat. We'll get it. Thank you. You don't open your door. I don't give a damn who it is. President Trump, President Obama, your pastor. Don't open your door, because I'm telling you, people are pitiful and they're doing many vile things just to make a little cash. It's really sad. And some kind of way, we're going to have to train everybody. I'm 54 and I'm just getting a lot of the training that I should have had at 14. So I try to train my children. I don't give a damn who it is. It can be the police. You don't open the door. You don't even know if that's a real police officer. There's a whole clique of police that are either on the take, or these are completely fake officers. They're impersonating the police. So don't get so caught up in seeing signs and symbols that you give away your right to safety. As an American, you have the right to be safe. You ain't got to open that door because you see no uniform. Sir, I have been trained by my parents to not open this door. I don't know if you really are who you say you are. What's your badge number? What's your name? Let me call the non-emergency number and make sure that you are clocked in, that you are an employee of the Tampa Police Department, and you are actually assigned to be here right now. Because a lot of games are going on. A lot of deaths are taking place at the hands of people that are in uniforms, fake or not fake. And until we develop the system that God told me they're going to have to develop, where they got their picture, and on the website it says the name, the badge number, the car number they're in, and whether they are actively working right now and what area they're in. It's a lot of corruption within these departments. And we'll see if it ever happens. But when they evicted me June 2nd, 2022, I had 4 sheriff officers, Hillsborough County Sheriff officer, spearheaded by Officer Say, Saey. That might not even be that man's real name. He might not have even been a real sheriff officer. And there were 4 Tampa police officers in the yard. That's why they attacked my Lele channel, Leelee. That's why they took it off YouTube, because I recorded that incident, and I recorded many other incidents. When I go to the 13th Judicial Circuit Court and they are lying to me and they don't have my information in the system because they done decided that I'm crazy and I don't deserve due process. If I am crazy, let's say I am crazy, and I handwrite a motion and I go give it to the clerk, it's still her job to follow the same procedures as she follows for a sane person. You want to put this into your case, you want to ask for a motion to stay. Okay, I'm going to put it in, send it up to the judge, and don't pick and choose what pieces of this information you're going to send up. Tamika, a clerk for the Hillsborough County um, clerk's office under Cindy Stewart, she gonna tell me she's not gonna send up, you don't need that, you don't need that, the eviction packet that they gave me. I included that in my motion to stay. And do you know she didn't scan it in and she didn't send it up? It's like, bitch, you at work. Don't tell me what I need and don't need. I want the judge to see this, because Evelyn Rosado, who notarized this packet right here, ain't even no notary public. I done already looked her up on Sunbiz and another website. She ain't no notary public. And Eric Allen is not even in none of the papers for A Plus Properties. And A Plus Properties is not even an active business. So how can they come and evict me? And Tamika was probably being paid under the table to make sure none of my pleadings made it to the sixth floor to Chief Judge Ronald Figueroa. So what God told me to do was to get on the elevator, go up to the sixth floor, and drop off a copy. That's what I did. When you go in to see Judge Ronald Figueroa, Thomas Omanzi sits at the desk. You have to hand it to him. Hand it to him. He says he's taking it to the judicial assistant. He gets it stamped, and then he brings you back your stamped copy. Now, Thomas Omanzi could have took a bribe. He took time off. So they might have paid him. Hey man, we'll give you a, cruise to, they're paying for things, I think, on credit cards, probably in my name, paying people off for them to work against me. So Ronald Figueroa might not have seen the pleadings, but if I come to the sixth floor and give it to your people, I'm assuming you got it. Now, if you got crooks working for you, or if you yourself are a crook and you took a bribe, that's a problem. That's a problem for the people of the 13th Judicial Circuit Court. Rick Melindy, same deal. When I'm on that sixth floor, I go hand a copy to Rick Melindy's people, the court administrator. Now you have to stand at a little window, push a little button, talk to the people, and they'll come out. But I don't know who those people are. I know who they tell me they are. So because I'm the one that's supposed to be crazy, they're like, oh, we can just F over her. We can just lie and say, oh no, she ain't never bring that. She ain't never bring that. Except on my YouTube channel, I got all of the things that I did bring. And most of the time I pay the extra $2 to $3 to get it certified. So how do you get past that? There's a lot of probate crimes taking place in the 13th Judicial Circuit Court. And as I continue to talk about them, eventually somebody gonna get me some straightening. Should I talk about the people that? No. And what encourages me to just continue going is I think about my ancestors. If we were slaves for 100 years, look at how long it took and how many people died and how much bloodshed occurred for slavery to be considered illegal. Look how long it took after that for desegregation to take place. And so I just stay the course. I continue to expose it. I stay the course. All right. I'm out of here. Peace.